Well, welcome everyone to CW Live. I'm Keela Flores, Associate Editor here at IABC. Today I'll be talking with Marilyn Barefoot, trained in companies like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, General Mills, Nike, and Microsoft. Marilyn combines a wickedly smart and analytical brain with an intuitive gut. Marilyn is a sought-after speaker and hands-on leader whose high-energy brainstorming sessions lead to powerful results. In October, she will share her insights with IABC in the form of a workshop titled Creativity, No Longer an Option in Today's Workplace. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thanks for having me, Keela.
Sure. So let's get started. You suggest that creativity is key to today's workforce. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. Let me start by giving you what I think is a great summation of as to why it is key for today's workplace, and that's the definition of insanity. Continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result, as we've all heard over the years, the definition of insanity, can sometimes be the way creative problem solving happens within an organization. So in other words, we've always done it this way, so let's do it this way, and let's keep on doing it this way, somehow thinking that the end result is going to be different when in fact it never could be and never will be. So from a creative problem solving or creativity standpoint, I think it's really important that teams get together live wherever possible in a room with no phones and no computers and just have conversations. Conversations, because all of us that work in organizations know more than we think we know. And the idea of working together to solve a problem or come up with a new innovative solution gives everybody in the room some ownership around it, and also allows various different aspects and various different perspectives to be aired and discussed. Email is not the right way to go, and the way we've always done it is certainly not the right way to go. I think nowadays brands, organizations, businesses have to be so nimble around how are we going to solve this, or how are we going to address this, because the world just keeps getting faster and faster. Believe it or not, the best way to do it is to sit around a round table, have a conversation, do it in a creative way so that we're looking at different ideas and different opportunities and different thoughts, as opposed to, well, we've always done it this way, let's just keep doing it that way. So I think in terms of the problem solving or ideation, that's important, but also the fact that ownership of the solution or the idea is so key, and also gives a great sense of team, a great sense of team building when we work together to create the answer.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marilyn. So you believe that everyone has the ability to unlock their creative potential. What could be holding them back?
Well, it's interesting because we'll start with, I'll give you a little story on this one, because when I facilitate brainstorming sessions with clients, they will typically walk in the room for the brainstorming session and give me 3 different reactions. Always it's the same. The first reaction is, wow, this is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. Look at all the stuff on the tables. Look at how it's all set up. I can't wait. Number 2 is, uh-oh, I am so not a creative person. I am really nervous about this because somebody's going to ask me to be creative, and I'm not a creative person, and I'm scared. And thirdly is, I am a busy executive. What is all this crap? I'm not really interested in spending my time doing this. I have emails and meetings and people to be with. Reaction number 2, I'm not a creative person, is based in fear. And also reaction number 3 of, I'm a busy executive and I have things to do and places to be and people to see, is also based in fear. I think there's a number of things that go into this. Number 1 is, we're kids when we're born. We're all creative people. We play, we create, we imagine, we color, we build, we do all these wonderful things. And somewhere around age 10, our current school system traditionally teaches that out of us. Now you have to be a grown-up person. Now you don't want to play anymore, and now it's time to focus and be serious. So a lot of us leave that behind or suppress it, and then we end up getting into careers potentially that I'm an accountant, I'm a lawyer, I'm working in financials, I'm not a creative person. Well, yes, you are. We all have it. We were all born with it. It's still there. The question is, what's the process to unlock that, to release that, to let you find that again? And it's the most amazing experience when I'm in rooms, specifically, the story I'll go back to is a bank client where they're all high-level financial guys, mostly guys, a few women, but mostly guys. And they feel very uncomfortable with that. But through the process that I use in about the first 10 to 15 minutes, they are having so much fun and they are coming up with so many creative ideas. And they're really enjoying the process of, wow, it doesn't have to fit on an Excel spreadsheet. I do have this. I just wasn't able to really recognize that it was still there.
Wonderful. Awesome. I love that example. How does being creative in the workforce affect employee engagement?
Well, it's having fun, smiling, enjoying, and having new things going on is such a turn on for people as a human race, but specifically in an organization. I mean, nobody wants to go into the same situation, doing the same thing every single day, having the same outcomes every single day, where nothing's improving, nothing's changing, nothing's getting more interesting, nothing's getting more fun. It kind of comes down to there could just be computers doing our jobs. There's no human involved in it. We all love the surprise and delight in life, whether it's going to a coffee shop and having someone pay it forward and say, hey, I'm buying you a coffee today, or driving out of a parking lot and having somebody hand you their paid parking for the whole day saying, hey, I didn't use it all, so here, pay it forward. The surprise and delight in life is what really feeds our soul. And working together in an environment to create newness, to create opportunity, to create innovation as a team bonds us as human beings because we're all owners of that process. But it also makes us feel really excited about working for a company who embraces that culture, as opposed to, no, I don't want to hear your new ideas. And no, if you have something to say, we're really not interested in hearing it. Just do your job the same way for years and years and years and sit in this little dark cubicle like a mechanical computer would. It's just not a place where people are going to feel excited and happy about getting up and going to work every day.
Great. I think a lot of people would agree with that. And lastly, in your workshop, you mentioned that it's important for a company to have creative, highly engaging brainstorming sessions. Can you tell us what steps can be taken to create an effective brainstorming session?
Absolutely. And when we go into the webinar series in October, we're going to talk about this a lot more. But traditionally, and I come from an advertising agency background, and clients would phone and say, Marilyn, get up here with your team and we're having a brainstorming session. Everyone just shows up in a room with a cold pizza and warm pop and sits around a brief, which is 3 or 4 inches in depth, and reads it and then looks at each other and says, does anyone have an idea? Without a process, there's absolutely no way anybody's going to come up with an idea. The ceiling is not going to open. No one's going to be struck by a thunderbolt like Harry Potter, like, oh yes, of course I have that beautiful idea. Nor is it even possible for a creative department in an advertising agency to just instantly pull an idea out of the sky. So in a nutshell, very simply, having a brainstorming meeting requires planning and also requires a process. And people don't really want to take the time. It's like, okay, everyone show up in this boardroom at 12 o'clock. We're having a lunchtime brainstorming session. Here's the brief. Does anyone have an idea? Is never going to get you where you want to be. And slowly people feel, I don't want to go. I'm wasting my time. No good ideas came out of that. And always the same branded, if you will, creative people talk. It's like, why am I going? Why am I bothering? If there is a process, which is what I intend to get into when we get going with the series in October, it's basically what I call my 12-step process, which no disrespect intended, but literally there are small little things that you can do that make a huge amount of difference for people walking into a room and actually will guarantee, which is why I do guarantee what I do, guarantee big ideas at the end of it. So whoever's facilitating it has to plan for that. You have to have scented markers. You have to have scented Play-Doh. You have to have a basket at the front of the room that allows you to put some masking tape on your phone with your name and park it outside the room. You have to plan for people having an incredibly surprise and delight experience. And surprisingly enough, don't give them the brief. Don't give them the brief. Have them all come in. They don't even know what we're going to be talking about. But literally, if you can explain it in 5 sentences on a sheet of paper that's delivered to them that day, that instant, your brain is fresher. You're going to come up with more interesting things. One of the keys that I talk about a lot is inviting a lot of new people. In other words, I did some work with the NHL, National Hockey League, and they said, we're going to have everybody who are hockey fans coming to the session. And I said, well, what if you're not considered to be a hockey fan? Aren't you able to have a really interesting idea as well? And often, some of the best ideas in the world come from people who are not close to the subject matter at all, because they have fresh eyes and they have fresh perspectives. So it's always the marketing department. We're the brand who ends up working on these things. But in fact, an example I'll give you was with Burger King in Miami, where they had an entire staff offsite. That meaning every single person who worked in the building came to the meeting, and I was facilitating brainstorming ideas. They were working on day part ideas. The most amount of interesting and creative ideas by far came from the guy who ran the parking lot. He was in charge of making sure that when people drove in their car into the Miami office and went downstairs into the underground parking lot, that their pass card worked, and if their dog had chewed it or their baby had teethed on it or whatever had happened over the weekend, their card worked. And if their card didn't work, he could press a button and open the garage door and let them go in. And he was invited, of course, to this meeting. Amazing. But who in the marketing department would have ever said, hey, let's invite the guy from the parking garage to come to our brainstorming meeting? So I think it's a lot of different steps. We'll get into that in October. But it's really about planning. And once you've planned it right, boom, you can go and you will come up with amazing stuff.
Well, Marilyn, thank you again for joining us on this episode of CW Live. And to our viewers, you can learn more about her creativity in the workplace workshop by following the link in the description. Thanks for watching.